The clay figure wanted to scrape off all the mud on its body, simply because the mud had dirted the pristine white floor beneath its feet. But the mud quickly healed itself, while the floor only got dirtier. It tried to wipe the mud off the floor, but the more it wiped, the messier it became. Looking at its filthy muddy hands, the clay figure thought, if only I had a pair of gloves and a rag. Just then, a box suddenly popped out from the wall. The clay figure tiptoed cautiously toward it. Inside, it found, just as it had wished, a pair of gloves and a rag. It put on the gloves, finally ready to clean the room properly. As it wiped the floor, it carefully stepped backward, erasing the muddy footprints one by one. But it was still standing on the spotless white floor. To keep the room perfectly clean, the clay figure stepped onto the rag with both feet. Now, at last, the floor was completely clean. Looking down at its feet, the clay figure thought, if only I had a pair of shoes. Unexpectedly, another box popped out from the wall. The clay figure wanted to see what was inside. In order not to dirty the floor, it slid forward slowly while standing on the rag. But it lost its balance and fell to the floor, making the floor even dirtier. Seeing the filthy mess, the clay figure broke down. It gave up and walked forward without caring anymore. To its surprise, the cabinet contained exactly what it had wished for, a pair of shoes. The clay figure took out the shoes and put them on. Suddenly, another box popped out from the wall. This time, it held a set of clothes. Without hesitation, the clay figure put them on. But when it tried to put on the pants, it lost its balance again and fell, knocking over a nearby bucket of water, further dirtying the floor. The clay figure couldn't understand why was it that the harder it tried, the worse things became. It hated being covered in mud. In desperation, it began clawing wildly at the mud on its body, forgetting that it was, in fact, made of clay. The clay figure completely broke down. It grabbed a handful of mud and hurled it with all its might. To its surprise, the mud smashed through a wall nearby. The clay figure curiously walked over, only to see a completely different world on the other side. It was vibrant and colorful. There were other clay figures too, but they lived joyfully. They didn't hate the mud on themselves, instead, they used it to paint their world with their own colors. Living too cautiously only brought the clay figure more pain, but acting boldly might just reveal a whole new world.